Hello, gorgeous. I'm the Fairy Voice Mother. Welcome to this internet offering that is brought to you by what can only be described as harassment. I've been buried deeply underground recently, creating my vocal course, and I'm so excited! But I have been ruthlessly dragged out by my ankles to make this video due to the amount of messages and comments, texts, pigeons, the mystical, magical promise of MAPHRA. This is a most intriguing hard launch of an artist career. There's 6 videos on this channel with a very undeniably beautiful metal princess aesthetic. And based on this little thumbnail, this is going to get a little bit crunchy. If you're new here, then don't be alarmed, but I love you. And I'm going to tell you everything I possibly can about this vocal performance from my studious background of vocal anatomy, the brain and the nervous system. And so... oh, that's nice. Bit of camera movement. Just steadying the old tripod. No, I think this is on purpose. It's actually really interesting.
Cut off my wings and come lock me up. Just pull the plug, yeah, I've had enough. Tear me to pieces, sell me for parts. You're all vampires, so here you can have my heart.
It's very warm.
You can have my heart. You can have my heart. The walls of funeral, a room of ghosts. No hand of movement, no sign of pulse.
Even early on, we can tell that she does have a really promising capacity for distortion, because that little bit of aspiration that you can hear through her voice is because she's already compressing ever so slightly. So what I mean by compressing is, where's my scrunchie? Let's not use the scrunchie. So you have a left and right vocal fold that vibrate in this glottis. So glottis is a sphincter, like a butthole, and when you begin to constrict that sphincter, the vocal folds have a little bit less room to move. Therefore, this is a really nice, stable, squishy environment to drive distortion over the top, because imagine if that sphincter is wide open, the environment is uncontrolled. And in order to do distortion safely, we have to activate tissues above the vocal folds themselves. And if you try to turn those tissues on over the top, you'll notice the need to do an ever so slight narrow in there to make sure everything is nice and cozy and aligned. So how can we identify the compression already present in her voice? Well, the world's a funeral, a room of ghosts. As opposed to, the world's a funeral, a room of ghosts. You hear that second time, there was no hissiness in there at all. It's quite hard to tell unless you have that A-B example, but now you've heard it, hopefully you can hear the difference. There is a hissiness present, a very attractive hissiness. I do believe a little bit of vocal compression, even if you don't intend to use it to add distortion over the top, is pleasant. Dare I say, slightly sensual. Her face and her makeup and the whole aura is absolutely stunning. She really pulls off those black lips. I think if I tried to do that, I'd look like I'd caught frostbite or something.
No hand of movement, no sign of pulse. Only an echo, just getting boom. They kick the chair, but we uptie the room. You can have my heart.
Ooh. That was nice.
You can have my heart.
Wow. Wow.
So come rain on my parade, 'cause I wanna feel it. Come shove me over the edge.
Wow.
'Cause my head is in overdrive. I'm sorry, but it's too late. And it's not worth saving. So come rain on my parade.
Nice.
I think we're doomed, and now there's no way back.
That's very, very nice. There's a lot of things I love about this, but one of those things is the meticulous choices that she makes of when to dial that distortion in, because it gives an effect that she's sort of gradually fading into the distortion. I'm sorry, but it's too late, and it's not worth saving. You see how the distortion only came in on the 2, and it makes it so much easier to sort of manage what is going to be distorted and what is going to be clean when you choose when it comes in. And although technically it is possible to sing that entire chorus with that divine distortion that she's doing, the pressure build-up would be immense. You can see in some of these phrases that she's singing, she's kind of vibrating under the pressure. So come rain on my parade! Although it's safe, it is such a lot of pressure build-up because of this compression. And so what's happening here is underneath these voicey sparkles is a clean voice that sounds like this. So come rain on my parade! You can hear there how we're keeping that air down nice and squishy, and we're not embellishing that melody in any way. We're not relaxing the larynx. So come rain on my parade! That wouldn't work because the larynx has got too much space, and neither would this. So come rain on my parade. Because the vocal folds are too separate, too thin, and there's so much air just woohoo rushing out that there's no way that you could get a distortion over the top unless you tighten that sound, which would sound like this. So come rain on my parade. So basically, if you want to do this sort of thing, the first thing that you absolutely need to be certain of is that you can belt the notes in this clean way that I showed you earlier before you even attempt adding the distortion over the top. Because if you can't belt those notes in this key like that with that sort of strong belty quality, you can't add the distortion over the top, which is the way that we do it safely. So if you have a naturally much lower voice than this, then yes, you're going to have to drop the key. But if belting is just a skill that you've not developed before, then that is super exciting because you don't know how high you can sing it because you haven't tried. So a nice way to get going with a belting exercise is to do some yes, just like you're really excited because you're going to eat some chocolate mousse. Yeah! So it's this emphatic sound that you're not trying to manipulate and make it massive. You're just seeing how it comes out. And make sure that you're throwing them away because this tells your nervous system that it's okay to be doing this. I'm so excited to show you my course because it has so much stuff about how to control your nervous system. And it's so cool because so many people think that they can't sing because their nervous system literally doesn't let them. And so like, even without doing vocal exercises, your voice can get better. If you do want to find out when the vocal course is coming and you want to be the first to get it, then you can fill out your email address on a link that I will make sure I put very easily to find in the description. Okay, let's carry on.
I think we're doomed and now there's no way back.
It's a nice production. I love those little Foley sounds, they're so intimate. Oh, I love breaths.
You must have made some kind of mistake. I asked for death, but instead I'm awake. The devil told me no room for cheats. I thought I'd sold my soul, but he kept the receipt. You can have my heart.
Oh my god, that's cool.
I'm coming home. It's getting dark, but I'll carry on. The sun will shine, but it never did. And when it rains, it fucking pours, but I think I like it. And you know that I'm in love with the mess. I think I like it. So come rain on my parade.
Hey.
'Cause I wanna feel it. Come shove me over the edge. 'Cause my head is in overdrive. I'm sorry, but it's too late. And it's not worth saving. So come rain on my parade. I think we're doomed. I think we're doomed. And now there's no way back.
Just before it finishes, we need to go back a little bit, even though she says there's no way back. Let's go back anyway. There was 2 things that she did that particularly blew me away. Just before we find those, I think you'll agree that this is not one of those performances where you want to like skip to the metal bit, because her singing voice is so beautiful and it has so much character. Every single line she sings is so gorgeous, whether it has distortion or not, that you really don't want to skip a single second of it. And that is probably why she has blown up as quick as she has. It's not just about the distortion that she does, but she is really, really stellar in every note that emerges. I don't think I've heard someone do that before. Go from a high falsetto note and then drop into a distorted belt. I don't know if I can do that. Was that it? That's really cool, actually. It sets you up rather well, because when we do this, as we mentioned before, she's still doing that compression. And another thing that I haven't mentioned yet is when you are doing this distortion, you do need to imagine that it's coming from above. Because it sounds so guttural and heavy, you imagine that it would sort of come here like bubbling up under your larynx, like a big old herd of elephants in your trachea. But it's actually not a herd of elephants in your trachea at all. The tissues that create that are above your vocal folds, right? So it makes sense. We need to imagine that sound coming from over the top, because if we imagine it coming too low, we're gonna choke and the herd of elephants is gonna escape. And they don't want to. They want to stay in here because trachea elephants are not really recognised as a species. So you know that phrase, the elephant in the room? That's why it feels so awkward, because it's a trachea elephant. Okay. This chorus has definitely a much higher ratio of distorted to not distorted. There are clean moments in there, but they are few and far between. Oh, blimey, she has real fire behind her there. And in the spirit of the distortion is happening above the vocal folds, I want you to notice her posture is very conducive to that, because it's like jaw is very, very down, and she does this sort of movement with the head coming slightly forward as well. And that is indicative of a focus being up here, as opposed to the jaw coming up and her sort of leaning back into it like that. So that's cool. It's getting darker, but I'll carry on. This really does help you focus on putting it above. Le pièce de résistance is definitely this bit here.
And you know that I'm in love with the mess. I think I like it.
Oh, it's really hard. It's really hard not to lose that clean belted note underneath, because as that note goes up clean, it starts to get naturally much, much narrower. And so to keep those bigger, chunkier tissues that make the distortion to continue flapping over the edge without everything just going, ah! Potentially witchcraft.
I think with you, I think with you, then no, that's not a way back.
Oh, she's just so pretty.
So come rain on my parade, 'cause I wanna feel it. Come show me over the edge, 'cause my head is in overdrive. I'm sorry, but it's too late, and it's not worth saving. So come rain on my parade. I think we do. I think we do. Then there's no way back.
I really love what they've done with this track. Ooh, ooh, oh! Wow. In some of the comments and messages that I received about this, it was like, ooh, I think it's AI. I think the reason that people think that she could be AI is, firstly, she is just extremely perfect looking. Sorry. The second reason people might think that is there is very, and I mean very, mild pitch correction on it. I heard it at just one moment where she went up to the doomed, and it was like a little baby bit of a snap.
Think we do.
And that might make people think that, I don't know, it's all fake, the whole thing. And the third reason is I'm quite positive, I'm sort of 80% sure that the visual that we see is not the audio that we hear, because there was one face shape in particular, this is very nerdy, but there was one shape in particular that doesn't correlate with the formants of the vowel. I'll just show you which one that is.
And it's not worth saving.
What we see is, and it's not worth saving, but the formant of that note is nat, right? So it sounds like, and it's not worth saving, which means she would have much more like face muscle engagement here. But hell, I mean, that doesn't matter. The reason I'm bringing this up purely is just to explain anyone that doubts this and thinks it's AI and it's not real. It's definitely real, it's definitely possible. So did she do the right thing by sort of staging this video here and making it look so beautiful and perfect, even though the vocal was potentially already pre-recorded? Yes, she did, because she is an artist presenting a full package, and she has done that masterfully. It's a beautiful composition, a beautiful doll-like self with the little fairy lights in the background and then the candles giving it that depth and everything. Everything about this is visually stunning and audibly stunning, and that is the package. So she's presenting a beautifully polished package, and if she hasn't already been signed or whisked away on a world tour, then there is no justice in the world. But as you may remember, I used to read out an oracle card at the end of all of my videos, but I have lost them and I still haven't found them. So what I thought I'd do, I've been getting really into etymology recently in my free time, so I thought I would just break down a word for you at the end of each video instead. And one of my most favourite ones is the origin of the word muscle, because mus is mouse in Latin, and so a really old Roman person thought that when you do this, it looks like a little mouse running up and down. Muscle. So I hope that was worth staying till the end, but obviously if you're hearing this right now, then you did, and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. If you'd like to check out any of my singy screaminess, then you can watch this little movie I made. I wrote this song about a woman.
Wouldn't that be typical?
It's like a little 7-minute movie with speaking in it and everything. So you might like it. If so, have a little clickaroo. And if not, that is absolutely fine. Giant kiss on the head. Mwah! Please let me know any more of your suggestions down below in the comments, as it really keeps this channel going. And you just have an absolutely magnificent day. Giant premiere hug if you're joining me at the premiere. Mwah! And if you're joining me at any other time, a giant hug for you too. Go and just be fabulous. That was so yummy. I want to watch it again. I love names with PH sounds in them. And I was wondering if it was an anagram of something, because it's so unique. Like Fram or Harpum or Pamra. Obviously, more common name. It's getting tight cat. Okay, I'm not going to sing tight cat. I don't think it's tight cat. Oh, darker!